Hey everybody, welcome back to the Spin Rack. It is Mars here with my boy Petey, and we are talking about the news about.
Hold on. Well, yeah, it should be going. It should be going. Yeah, sorry. Keep going.
And we should be. We're going to be talking about World War Hulk. The possibility that there's going to be a movie that Marvel's going to be dropping. Hey, my man Petey here, our resident Hulk expert, is going to break it down a bit, and we're going to just jump into it. Anybody who wants to talk about this madness, which Marvel has not confirmed, and some people have said it's not going to happen, but hey, there's a lot to go over. So, my man Petey, what's your take on this? Give us a little background. Let's go forward from this. All right.
Well, what is it? World War Hulk. While they were doing a Hulk story, I think Greg Pratt took over the Hulk comic book, and they decided to do something harsh. They had a comic book called Avengers. What was it? The Illuminati. I keep calling it Avengers Initiative because of the TV show, because of the movie. But they had the Avengers Illuminati, and they decided they were going to shoot the Hulk into space, right? So they shot the Hulk into space.
Why? Why?
Because they just were tired of him. Instead of just saying we should kill him. But with that said, he goes to a planet, and then they decide that that's where the whole big Planet Hulk story comes along. And Planet Hulk is where he's on, similar to what we saw in Ragnarok. He's on this other world where he's actually battling, and he gets a team of all these other great fighters. And then in the end, I think the Illuminati also shoots another thing, killing from Earth to his where the Hulk is now, killing the Hulk's family or his wife. I think the kids one of the kids come back and becomes Scar, son of Hulk, or something like that. So then, of course, since his family or his girlfriend is dead, it's not the first time that everything I said, none of this is the first time for any of that stuff.
Right.
But this is the maximum money for Marvel. So then, of course, when he comes back to Earth, he's hella mad. He comes, and of course, they say, the madder he gets. So you see here, he goes against members of the Initiative, the Illuminati, and this is by John Romita Jr. So at the same time, DC had World War III, where a lot of things was going to happen. A lot of people were dying and leading to a lot of big stories. So Marvel, not to be beat, they did World War Hulk, and this is a big storyline for them. So they had John Romita Jr., who's at, I guess you could say, as far as this stuff, the top of his game. But, for me, I'd go back a little earlier, but this stuff is selling like hotcakes. So, of course, since they don't really understand how to do a Hulk story, they kind of like to do Hulk with other characters, or Hulk fighting other characters. So they're thinking about doing this movie. It's not definite, but, you would get everything that they want out of a Marvel Studios film, or so Marvel Cinematic Universe film, where it's basically the heroes fighting the other heroes. And Hulk is more of a reluctant, inadvertent hero, but since it's not the same character as the comic book, whereas the comic book, the Hulk has been shot in space by the Inhumans because he was destroying the hidden land, even though it wasn't his fault why it started. He definitely was going to end it. It wasn't because of the royal family, because the royal family accepted Bruce Banner in there, but since they have issue with people with human faces and not showing their human face when they actually have inhuman looking characters, they kind of shipped him off. But it was almost the hidden land was almost destroyed. Then there's another story about the Thing where he's caught on another planet where he's fighting with all these other guys. And then the comeback where he's all mad. The Hulk really hasn't been able to do that because anytime he's been mad about the heroes, he kind of forgets. He remembers he has some issues with the Avengers. He just doesn't know why. The same with the Thing. He remembers the Thing, and the points he's wanted to get in other fights with him. But at the same time, Hulk is easily swayed. So if you were to say you're his friend, he probably would calm down. So that's it in a nutshell.
I mean, we're talking about, this is the Hulk that's different from the Hulk that so look, this is a Hulk who has brains. The one that gets shot out over to we're talking about it's
Did he have the brains? He was still the Hulk though.
Right, but he's much
not
more
Bruce Banner.
He's not Bruce Banner, but he's not like just pure emotion the whole time. He becomes a ruler of Sakaar, right? So he he's not like he's just brute force. It's just, and so I think what they're trying to say with the MCU is that, hey, you have um now the Bruce Banner with no, Bruce Banner and the Hulk in one thing, after the end of Endgame, right? And so using that Hulk, or no, you don't think
But he
that's
goes back out into space again because they
I don't
already.
know. I don't know what they're planning to do, but I'm just trying to say the thought is that since we didn't really see the Hulk in Endgame, right? We didn't see the Hulk in
Well,
Infinity
he's
War.
kind of out of commission right now, and they're saying he's going to have this little arm for a while. So I'm not sure that's why it doesn't seem like it's something. It seemed like someone likes the idea and is kind of pointing Marvel to it, and it's kind of getting some buzz. Maybe it's Feige seeing if there's any buzz around it. But I mean, it's one of the popular storylines, and it would fall in line with what they'd want to do. The only problem is that they already did a story with Hulk on another planet.
I know.
Planet Hulk, and then the Hulk has already fought Iron Man. He fought Thor. So fighting, basically saying, well, the Hulk is a new big, huge monster again. When he's like saying, well, you know what? They should have killed him when they had the chance. It's like,
Nobody kills the Hulk, bro. Nobody kills the Hulk.
You have to. You can't do stories where he becomes a total monster. And that's the thing. Even if they shot him off to another planet, Bruce Banner would be on the thing being like, well, I get it. Like that sort of thing. But he's had situations where he's lost loved ones and he hasn't come back. And, well, I mean, making the heroes be the ones where Doctor Strange has been kind of his, like almost like a, like a custodian when he was in the Defenders. So it's kind of odd that Doctor Strange would be party to, well, all of them, every one of the people in that team.
So the Illuminati. So just to go back, so Illuminati is what? Black Bolt from the Inhumans. You have Doctor Strange, who's been with him in the Defenders team. You have Mr. Fantastic from that comic book that we sometimes don't talk about. Fantastic.
We always talk about the Fantastic Four.
And of course, we have the man himself. No introduction needed, no first name or anything like that. Iron Man. That's the Illuminati right there. And those are the guys who ended up deciding.
Is Namor in the Illuminati?
Is this version of the Illuminati? Because I think they've had more than one version of the Illuminati, right?
But ultimately,
they had Professor X and they have Namor before, but I don't know.
All of them, except for possibly Namor, have tried to help Bruce Banner. So it's not the fact that they would ship him out, send him out to. I can see Thunderbolt Ross sending him out there, and the American government or the governments of the world send him. But having the heroes do it is not. When the Inhumans shipped him out, it made sense because he was Black Bolt. The only thing that he could stop the Hulk with was with his voice, and he used the voice, and it actually hurt the Hulk. And while he was knocked out or dazed. They put him in a rocket ship and sent him to counter Earth. Now that's what you do.
Well, what could you do? You know what I'm trying to say? He's a friggin' force of nature. You have to get rid of him. Instead of sending him to another planet, probably should have sent him to the sun. That would have taken care of the issue there. But hey, I don't want to hear anything from Hulk haters. Hulk lovers. I'm not saying to do that. I'm just saying
that's the thing. You got to kill him.
Yeah, that is true.
So instead of what they did, and what happened in the comic was that they realized the heroes realized that the Hulk isn't bad, and they know that he's Bruce Banner stuck. But ultimately, the Hulk isn't necessarily. Sometimes he can go too far, and the government. That's what the whole idea of the government for. But the heroes kind of been like, "Oh, I've been around the Hulk. He's not really a bad guy, right?" So if we keep that in mind, they could have done. I don't think they're interested in doing the Hulk stories as they are. And they don't see a way to do the Peter David Hulk stories either. And that's ultimately what they're trying to do when they did World War Hulk, which was have a character who had enough mental capacity that he could stay mad. He could be totally revenge. With Hulk is anger, but it's not really revenge. Because he'd have revenge. He probably would decide, let me go to New York so I can fight the Thing for no good reason. So.
Yeah, but sorry. So let's get back to it. Do we think that Marvel's going to come out with a movie like this?
I think they would. I do think they would.
But you just basically said before they kind of ran through this when they did Sakaar. They did Sakaar in
Totally.
you know. So I mean, and he came back. He went to so again, just to go over the timeline. He went to Sakaar and Thor, Ragnarok. Then we see him in what's it, Endgame? No, we see him with in Infinity War. You know, when he's sent out to back to Earth, he sees Thanos. He goes back to Earth. He tries to get help, but he can't. Tony asks him to get back to be the Green guy. He can't do it. But yet, when he was on Sakaar, he was green all the time. You know, and so he gets in. The next time we see him is in Endgame, and he's the talking Hulk. You know, once again. So the question is, you know, are they going? Do you think it'll be more like a prequel, like what happened to him, or how he became that, or do you think it'll be like after Endgame, like yo, this is going to happen, this is what's happening?
So wait a second. Oh,
Sorry. You say?
So before we go on, DC Big Oso Ya, he said that the breadcrumbs was already in the What If series, so it could happen.
It could happen. I mean, it could happen, but I'm just saying how are we going to make it done? The breadcrumbs are there, but it just seems if they would have done something with the Hulk off of Sakaar, makes a lot of sense. If he comes over now as the Bruce Banner / Hulk that they had in Endgame, how do you get him back to the other one? You know, do you decide that hey, he loses control?
Absolute power corrupts.
No, but I'm saying he gets. The only thing I can think of is something happens to Hulk where he regurgitates, where he goes back bad, not bad, but just being the Hulk. And then you have the heroes come say, we got to do something about it. He starts fighting them off, and then bam, it could happen. You know what I'm trying to say? Everybody wants to see matchup, and that's the great thing about the whole World War Hulk thing, because he's matching up with we don't have, they're not going to do the Inhumans, so let's get that off the box. Iron Man.
No, they already ruined the Inhumans.
Huh?
They already ruined the Inhumans.
Iron Man has already been done. Is no longer in the MCU, but he could fight Thor. He could fight. Who else could he fight? We don't have the Fantastic Four, but this could be an opening for the Fantastic Four. Also, he did fight the X-Men. Another opening for the X-Men.
Oh my gosh! All the heroes come out from being hidden. And then you also have like who's he gonna fight? The Guardians of the Galaxy. We need to go back to Earth to fight that, and then the Eternals and all those guys. None of those guys can take out the Hulk.
Exactly. So but hey, it will be a great a battle episode. Hey, you know, Hulk going through different levels. Who would be the one at the top? Professor X?
You can't do anything against Professor X. It's over.
Didn't in the comic Professor X say that he agreed with the Illuminati to send them off or something like that?
They made the decision, but it was more of an editorial thing to say, hey, let's do the story where we ship them off.
That's Quesada then. Quesada was the one who was doing that stuff.
Well, I think it's by committee, but, maybe Greg Pak came to them and said, hey, I want to do a story, Planet Hulk, Hulk gets a new family and a wife, but he gets shipped out. Because it seemed kind of abrupt when I was looking at those issues. And it was just like, Hulk is here, and the next he's gone.
Got it. I mean, look, I'm interested. I love to see the Hulk. I mean, one of the great battles everybody's always like to see is Hulk versus Spider-Man, right? I mean, you can't hit the Spider. We always see in the comics that Spider-Man's going around, turning around and back.
Nobody wants Spider-Man versus Hulk.
Everybody wants to see that, man. That's classic. And then definitely Wolverine versus Hulk.
No, nobody wants that.
Yo, and if they get the Fantastic Four, it's clobbering time.
That's the one they should expect, but you can't even do. See, here we go. My cat is acting up at the same time, so I was trying to deal with that. But that's the thing. The only way to make the thing interesting in this timeline is for him to come and him knock out the Hulk. That's the only way it could work. At least in that first fight.
They can't beat the Hulk. We all know that.
I know, but the thing
Spider-Man can beat the Hulk, but not the other way around.
Stop it. Stop. But I'm saying to make it something different than what we've seen before. We have to, that's why they had Thanos beat the Hulk. We have to have, stop saying Spider-Man beating the Hulk. But, hold on. But yeah, that's the thing. That would make it interesting instead of just doing Hulk fighting this thing and then the thing loses. It's like, what's the point of it? At least have the thing win the first fight, then the second fight, we do. Hold on. Oh,
I don't think there's going to be a look. So, and I think you're going to agree with me here, PD. I don't think they're going to do a situation where you're going to have the Hulk fight the anyone twice. I think it's going to be a series of fights where he's fighting just like in comics, and he's going to come, hey, you know what? Korg has been hanging out more with Thor than he's been hanging out with Hulk, because in the comics he's hanging out with Hulk. But Korg and them, if they bring the whole Warbound or band back together and stuff like that, taking all the heroes. Though, you know, in the MCU, Korg is, you know, he's not really doing that stuff. But I'm just saying, if you have Hulk fighting it out with those heroes, they're not going to bring in. So we're not, like I said, they're not going to bring in any other heroes. So in terms of the Inhumans, we got the Eternals. You know, they're kind of a little weird there. They have that whole celestial vibe. Bam, you got the Eternals. He fights the Eternals, defeats them. Next, he fights there's no. So I'm not even going to put in the Fantastic Four and the X-Men yet, but I think that could be the big reveal at the end. He fights. Well, there's no Iron Man, but he fights Thor or the Avengers. Boom, he has that. You know, you could put him through the Ant-Man. Well, Ant-Man really isn't, you know, a big thing. But Spidey, you cannot have a classic fight without Spidey. If you put Spider-Man in there to fight with him, people are going to absolutely love it.
But that doesn't make any sense. There's no way Spider-Man can fight the Hulk. Why do people?
We've seen it on ultimate tons of. I'm typing this up. Spider-Man versus Hulk. I bet you I'm going to find the image. Just tell me you're not going to find the image. Spider-Man.
Yeah, but it doesn't make any sense.
Versus
one guy is astronomically more powerful, another guy is a ground level hero.
Dude, it's like one of the best classic matchups, bro. You know,
No,
we
it's
know
not.
he's super strong, but because he is able to be agile, get around him, tie him up with the thing, keep him down, it's great. You know,
No, just had that because you had a Spider-Man shirt on? Come on, that's ridiculous.
enough said, baby. Enough said.
When they first fought, he hurt his hand punching the Hulk. And then he hid in a pond.
Can you please give me the controls?
No, I'm not giving you the controls. Let's do Spider-Man versus the Hulk stuff.
Oh man, see, this is I'm sorry, people, but once again, I'm being edited by you know, people who don't want to get freedom of my speech. You know, once again, it's happening again. You know, I can't.
To see the Hulk at his most powerful point get beaten up by Spider-Man.
Let's say slow down. You know,
how can he be slowed down by Spider-Man?
I'm just saying it's a very popular.
Spider-Man's powers make sense that he would be as strong as the Hulk.
He spider senses. The Hulk can't touch him. Spider senses, he'll be flying. Bam, bam, wham, wham.
Blocking. How can he block the Hulk's punch?
He doesn't have to block because the spider senses tell him what's happening. He moves up the right when he's going to. Hulk tries to grab. He gets out of the way. He shoots the spider web into his eye. He gets confused. He puts it on his leg. He falls onto the ground. Yo, I got the fight already choreographed, baby.
That's why I can't give you the controls for those sort of fanfic stories.
Fanfic. It's been on. They showed it in the comics. They showed it in the shows. There's no fanfic. Anything. It's legit.
It's
you know what I'm trying to say?
Fan-like stories.
They had a special edition Hulk, an Amazing Spider-Man. I think it's 120. You know, the fight to the finish.
There wasn't
Incredible Hulk.
Finish.
Huh?
The fight to the finish. Spider-Man just keeps dodging. That's the only way to make the story work.
True. Amazing Spider-Man. Spider-Man versus a Hulk. There's a bunch of comics. There's tons of comics on here. Spider-Man, Marvel team up. You know, so I don't know. You're denying the nose on your face that this could be a good episode.
It's not a good thing.
It's a great thing. What are you talking about?
Little tiny Spider-Man. That is the worst David and Goliath sort of battle ever.
People love David and Goliath. Are you not saying it's so good? They put it in the Bible. That's how good it is.
No, but that was the Bible, yeah. But then it's like every story has to be David and Goliath. Every story. No,
not every story. We're just talking about this story here. So don't go hating.
Look, Tom and Jerry. Jerry has a Goliath moment where he beats the hell out of Tom. Right? How many times we need to see that?
Dude, I can't understand why you're hating so much, bro. You know.
Oh no!
I'm looking at Big. Also, he is saying
that Black Panther beat the Hulk.
Enough respect. Thank you. Booyaka, booyaka. That's all I ask. I'm not,
Oh,
why
whatever.
you gotta hate? You know what I'm trying to say?
That's not hating. It's saying this is why would someone that astronomically powerful have to fight these
He
little guys?
has the spidey senses. That gives him an unordinate amount of abilities in and of itself. That's one thing they're not. That's one thing that I'm a little disappointed they haven't been able to show during
No,
the
I'm
Spider-Man movie.
totally glad that the
I,
spider sense has been sort of pushed out and then say, you know what, it's not a cure all. So when she threw like whatever at him and it hit him in the face, don't have it be a cure all. That's where the comic books went wrong. So they say, well, how do you hit him? How does anything go wrong in the story?
but it evens it up against the other guys
Oh,
who
it
have
does
all
it.
the
You
powers.
saying that he fights cosmic heroes like, oh, if he, it's only supposed to be defensive. They turn it into some kind of cosmic karate where he's able
But
to be like, oh, I'm gonna be like, it should be like here. If someone punches, he leaps half a mile this way. That's what spiders do. You see them when you try to step on them, they move quickly, and that's what they're trying to mimic in the spider sense. But you don't see the spider then do a flip over and then attack. They're trying to escape. It's purely defensive.
I totally disagree, bro. I think you're totally out of pocket there. And I think that you need to like really review that because that's one of the best things that we've seen in Spider-Man. And look, the reality is, yes, he's a ground level hero, but this is what gets him in the game, right? Because you can't. How do you touch him? He's too slippery. He's too fast. Shake and bake, baby. Shake and bake. Move to the right. Move to the left.
Yeah,
Right.
but you don't have you. You're saying that with that sort of speed and mobility, that Floyd Mayweather can beat Muhammad Ali? No,
I think so, 100%.
no. That's
You
the
know.
thing is like this. If done right, he's more of a thinking hero where he has to think his way out. Over time, they kind of adjusted it where it's like characters that he was stronger than him, somehow he's stronger, even though they were established as faster. See, no, they had an issue where he fought the Scorpion, right? The
Yes.
Scorpion was stronger and faster.
Yes.
And what did Scorpion do? Beat him up twice in the same issue. And then the third time, what did Spider Man do? He had to come into a fight where he knew he was going to lose. So he didn't come in there. He couldn't because the guy was still faster than him. So he blinded him. Then he webbed his feet. And then the time he webbed his feet, at that point when he was stable, he was immobile, and he tried to punch, that's when he could use his spider sense. But no one said that's not dynamic enough. Spider Man's so cool. So they've upped the ante so then Spider Man can be the Herald of Galactus, which makes no sense.
Okay, so wait. I'm getting a lot of different vibes from you. Getting negative vibes from you here. So
Negative.
yeah, I clearly it's not positive. You know, but clearly the character has
I'm
evolved. The character has evolved, and his powers have evolved over time. And so
from,
what you're basically
the
telling me is
from
that
the
he cannot
90s.
evolve. You cannot
No,
allow the character to have.
he already hit puberty. They pushed him up to 10 tons from when from he was at in his 20s. Somehow the 2000s came. Now he can lift 25 tons. Like how does that happen?
In a world where there's so many Omega power superheroes, you need to bring it up a little bit. You can't.
No, he doesn't need to be bring up because he has cool villains. When you bring up his power, they get become totally useless.
But then you got yeah, but that's what you're worried about. But he has other mega
No,
villains.
you're saying
Haven't
Marvel has mega villains.
and right, and the fact that he has now the spider senses allows him to equalize the playing field. That
No,
yes, I may not have the same power level in terms of that, but enough of taps,
how is this?
you can knock him out. Pow! You know what I'm trying to say? Pow!
Spider
Especially the
sense
spider
has
senses.
become a cure-all. While everyone else they try to trim down the BS. Spider-Man they up the ante.
No, bro, I wouldn't use the word BS for Spider-Man. We're gonna get a lot of negative reviews. We're gonna get a lot of thumbs down. We're gonna get people dissing us. I'm not down
They're
for that.
looking at it for the it has to be told because if
No.
you do stories where Spider-Man can beat a Herald of Galactus, and then they have so many times where he loses his temper, you keep trying to have to explain that he was holding back all this time.
No. I think you misunderstand. If you are a person or a being of energy and you can fight and use
This
energy
is
weapons,
not World War Spider-Man.
but I'm just trying to say that if you because you started it with this BS, but you have to be the Hulk gotta grab you. The Hulk gotta punch you. The Hulk gotta throw you. Spider-Man, nothing. If the spider senses, if you dodging left and you dodging right and moving up and down like that, you aren't getting touched, right? So it's a different thing there. All we're saying is that with the spider sense, it evens up the playing field a bit. He doesn't have the power
No,
naturally.
it means he could get away from the Hulk. You can't. That is not. It's not. He can't matrix his way out of being in direct combat. What are you doing?
Nothing.
You
Hello? What are you
stop
saying?
talking. You would move. You would.
No, you said, what are you doing? And I said, what? What are you talking about?
You were popping, and locking.
But you like it. Look, I'm just saying you gotta take it seriously, bro. Look, let's go back to the beginning of this whole thing. Can Marvel do this? I just don't see how it'll be a great story. I just don't see how they're gonna do it.
You already know it's a great story. It wasn't a great story.
It was a good story when
It
you
was something that people like the idea of Hulk fighting that, but there was not really a story. It was just a Hulk revenge story.
It's a series of matches if you want to go that way. He goes, he knocks it out. He's the war. They made him into a fighter when he had to go to Sakaar, right? A gladiator where he's fighting the other guys. He builds his own band. He takes over the planet. That'll be crazy seeing it here in this thing too. But I say
that's like 3 or 4 movies. They don't want to do that. They want to
do 3 or 4 movies. They're gonna do 1 movie. I don't think it's gonna be 2 or 3 or 4 movies.
How do you do? You don't do Planet Hulk. You just have the Hulk get mad and they have to take him out, and then what happens? They kill him. You're saying that that's the story, that he goes crazy so you can get the Hulk fighting all the heroes, and he basically is beating down hero after hero after hero, and then what, they bring in the Sentry, and it'll be like I don't know, what do they? He's gonna come out of nowhere to fight the Hulk and stop him.
I don't like the Sentry. I hope they don't bring the Sentry. I was hoping Professor X comes in and just kind of disables them or whatever, and then they start from the beginning again.
We should have been able to disable him in the first story.
Wait, I'm looking at DC Big Oso. Yeah, you're not taking into account that he's a scientist and the strength level isn't shabby. Bro, loving you, bro. Big thumbs up.
10 tons, plus 100 tons. How far
enough licks.
How many licks is it?
Plus you got the web. Look, I think, and the web is super strong. Look, I'm not gonna dead. You in agreement with me?
No, I'm not.
Very interesting. It will be a very interesting movie. We don't know how they're gonna do it. Marvel hasn't agreed to it, and they have a lot.
How is Spider-Man gonna match up with the Hulk and then take a beating from Venom and Carnage?
Because he has web.
Oh gosh.
I mean, bro, let's not hate, bro. Hey, but there's a couple other things I want to touch with you on.
With this one?
No, I guess we've kind of covered that one right now.
Lord. What else?
What
you want? Money more? What does DMX say? What you want? Money more?
Let's talk about that DC news coming from Ruby Rose.
We gotta separate that. You want to talk about that stuff now in the World War Hulk thing?
Well, we're talking about general news right now. We can separate it later.
No, we're talking about World War. What do you want to talk about Ruby Rose? Since she was saying that it was all them, it's not her.
Yeah, that's it. So we done.
No,
back to World War Hulk.
No. Basically said that the studio is the problem, right? Do you believe her?
No.
I don't believe her? I'm surprised.
No, I mean, the reason I'm saying is that, we've had a lot of different people coming. I think she signed on to something that she really wasn't interested in. Probably she liked the money. Probably she liked the I have a regular series, but someone's also said that she hasn't really done movies, per se. I mean, TV shows. There's been movies that she's worked on, and so it's a different level of work where the TV shows are coming in every day. You're doing that, and I mean that's something that appealed to her overall. as opposed to doing the movies. I just don't think that she clicked. I guess this just probably wasn't her to do it. And coming from movies, she's like, nah, not my cup of tea. And when she got hurt, she's like, nope, definitely not my cup of tea. But it
Okay.
seems that there was a lot of stuff going on in terms of her and the I guess production not really seeing eye to eye on a lot of different things. Probably she thought if she's on a TV show, she would be the queen bee from the whole show. But it didn't really work like that. So I don't know.
No,
Nope. What?
it didn't work like that. She ultimately bailed, and now we have a new Batwoman that
Yeah.
seems to be not going through the same struggles as the first Batwoman.
Yeah. I mean, well, and that's good
She
to
had a
hear.
big. It was a big thing when she came out. She had a big sort of movement, right? She came out, and it was in the was the Crisis thing. Was it in the Crisis?
Yeah,
In
she
the
was in crisis. Yeah.
CW thing. So it was like there was some buzz around it. So I don't know. I mean, it's I don't like when things change like that, but we'll see. I haven't checked it out, but I've been meaning to. So let's see. But sorry. I mean, I was a fan of Ruby Rose, so it was sad to see her go.
Well, I mean, look, they said that the first thing we heard is that she's the one who quit, but now we're hearing that she got fired. Like, yo, she was complaining about a lot of stuff. Her onset behavior wasn't great, or she wanted her trader to be treated a little differently. And I think what CBR is, if you want to find out, you want to cite people who gave us the right things. They're saying that they had an interview with someone, production assistant. We don't know to what degree this person had access to this. We don't know to what degree, we're only hearing his point of view versus hers. So, I mean, some of the claims, so Rose treated anyone who wasn't a major player as on the set uh, below the line terribly, more or less ignoring their existence or yelling at them. Rose never thanked anyone, only made demands that left all of us exhausted and emotional. This is what the PA said. Again, contrary to Rose's claim about her injuries preventing her from working, Baxter claimed, I guess the person named Baxter claims that Rose's friends revealed to her that the days when she was 8 hours late to correspondence times, she had previously been out partying. She often didn't have her lines memorized. One specific incident mentioned was holding a door open for Rose and she bumped into it, spilled her food, and just waiting for the PA to clean it up. So I mean, of course, it could just be PA like, yo, this person is a complete a-hole. But
That's pretty bad. But I mean,
I don't know. But I mean, that's some of them are like that, But
I wouldn't. I would expect someone on set to clean it, but her waiting for it to be like that. I don't see her have that. That part is a little extra. But why would you stand there and be like, I dropped it. Somebody's gonna have to clean it up. And so I mean, why would you have the star who should be eaten and full clean it? I can. I mean, it's not something the most not the best thing to hear, but I mean, it's the star. You gotta, they say, don't upset the thoroughbreds. You don't, you let them, you treat them like the thoroughbreds. You make sure if you don't want them to be like, that's the rule, ain't it? Look,
I know it's a rule. That's what you should do. But that's what they're saying you should do. But it's look.
ultimately, the truth of the
If you're
matter.
treating production like garbage, what's going to happen? People are not going to be out there helping you. They're not going to be there to support you. They're not going to be there because you think you're so much above them. Now that terrible accident she had, that's a
Yeah,
whole other issue. And I don't think anybody said there's any malfeasance and there was no one did anything to her on purpose. But that's something that someone who was not happy about the whole show would to begin with would be like, yo, this is too dangerous. These people are not happy. I'm not happy working with these people. Just one more of the many things that I say, this broke the camel's back and I got a rock, right?
hmm
I
yeah.
mean, it's rare. How often do you get on a major TV show, she's the first Batwoman, first character. She's been, given powers. She has her own show. She's the lead character. They put a lot of money and time behind her, and then she quits. You don't see that often. I mean, I can't name someone who has done something like that. Can you name someone who's done something like that? I
What?
mean, in the superhero genre, at least, where they're like, nah, not my type, not my cup of tea, just doesn't work or whatever. Most people basically stick it out. I mean, Arrow was in it, what, 11, 10 seasons or something, 8 seasons. You know, Supergirl was on for what, 6 seasons. Flash is on 5, 6 seasons now. I mean, those are bigger ones. Smallville went on 11 seasons, right? They didn't have other characters, but they kept him the main character there. And she's the main character. And that's what I'm talking about. Batman on Gotham was on what, 4 or 5 seasons. That's what I'm talking about in terms of a lead character saying, "Hey, put my hands up, done, finished, not doing this madness again."
So we gotta go back to this because DC Big is agreeing to disagree, and he's saying that that I'm saying the World War Hulk. We're gonna have a Spider-Man versus World War Hulk, where it's at the maddest that he could be. Somehow, all these other I had the image right, the him trashing
You had him trashing Doctor Strange, Black Bolt,
everybody, all of the varied powers, and the spider sense is the one thing that nobody can do anything with.
Hey, sometimes it's just one person that you can't beat. Just that's how it works out, bro.
There we go. We got Iron Man, Black Bolt, we got the Human Torch, we got the Fantastic Four, all at the same time.
You got Thunderbolt Ross. Don't forget Thunderbolt Ross.
We had the X-Men. We had so many people fighting against them, and then Spider-Man somehow is able to survive a fight because of his spider sense and a little bit of 10 tons of strength. Not buying it. And it just ultimately takes away from Spider-Man. I know fans, this is why it happened, this is why Stan did it. So, I mean, my opinion is that people writing, they were always writing and saying who's stronger than who. And Spider-Man being so popular, they were like, hey, let's have him fight. Let's have the Hulk fight Spider-Man. And the first time it was like, it was no contest. The second time, somehow, I think it's annual. I guess it's the third annual. The third annual, the Hulk is supposed to be not as strong as his MHB 911 says Spidey is a fan fave. So, but that's the thing. The next one, somehow he's able to startle the Hulk. Then next thing you know, later on in the issue you talk about, like, was it a 120? Spider-Man just doesn't do a hit. He's just trying to contain the damage that the Hulk is doing. So it's something that you just have and just say, well, Spider-Man's like the corporate hero. So we have to just somehow just have him survive a fight against the Hulk, which is kind of pushing it. Where, ultimately they've done great stories where Daredevil's fought Submariner, Daredevil's fought like the Hulk, end up in the hospital. And these are like real poignant moments at Marvel where you get these cool moments where the little guy tried and it didn't work out, and then but his heart is there. They pushed it the other way and decided, you know what, he's got to win because he's smarter and he's faster. And if he combines all of his powers at one time, that makes them it's exponentially more powerful. Which, it's like then how does he fight these other guys like the Green Goblin? Oh well, he was holding back. Well, he's got a temper, so you can't go to him, holding back. But that's what people want. I can't stop it. He's gone since the 80s. He's gone astronomically more powerful and more untouchable as things goes on. So this is what the fans want, moreover than what the stories used to be, where he get knocked out by Dr. Octopus, come back and be able to figure a way to defeat Dr. Octopus and that sort of thing. We're like, no, we can't have him against these lames. We got to have him against Annihilus and all these cosmic guys. But
most of the time, Spider-Man, aka Spidey, beats Hulk because of, I'm going to say it again, he has his spider senses. He outwits him, and he's therefore able to defeat him. Now, the new Hulks that we see in the new comics is another ballgame. We got that. I get what you're saying, But as long as his spider senses, which the MCU has been wrong for not putting out there, which can show his ability. They have hinted at it. I cannot see.
How much more
If you're
verse?
forewarned about something happening, you can move to the right. You can move to the left. You can pop and lock. You know, that's what happens, bro.
I think we argue about this in the Spider-Man movie where Spider-Man is like in the air and someone's got an array of bullets and he's like somehow he's getting thin enough that he can dodge the bullets. Like the spider sense work in a sense where someone's shooting, he goes the other way. Most of the time people write it, he goes towards it when it's an array, like the way bullets work, it's like the space between them is like what you see with Neo. The space between the bullets is no space. It's not like he's like Orange Juice Jones, where he can walk through the raindrops without getting touched. Same way you thought that was ridiculous. Same way the spider sense, him being able to dodge bullets, going towards it. That's the difference. The spider sense can allow him to. You see,
the thing is that we're talking about.
Car comes, he jumps to the building, right?
You're mixing up things.
Car comes, he goes, and he like.
He has the Iron Man spider suit. So
oh God!
Don't forget that. The Iron Spider suit makes another big difference. I didn't even want to incorporate that. But now, the Iron Spider suit. You have Tony Stark technology.
Iron Spider.
And you have spider senses.
Iron Spidey.
He's not getting whooped by no second tier character called the Hulk.
Iron Spidey.
That's right, Iron Spidey. That's what I say.
I'm done. The thing is that done right with his power levels and the abilities, they didn't have to pad the fights because he's so popular, right? They could do poignant things. They didn't.
So then using that sentence, why is there Iron Spider-Man? He can take on.
He did all the time he's been in comic books. He was totally. Anytime he'd come up into some sort of group, he would do his gags and his jokes at them, right? And then somehow he gets with in Civil War and he becomes Tony Stark's protege, right? Which is totally out of character. He might like the scientific angle, but at the time he meets him, he's not a kid.
In the movies he is. In the movies he is. So let's get back to that. You see, that's what I'm saying. We're mixing things up.
No, I'm saying that they turned it in the story itself. All right, yes, I'm saying these things are established on it. The Iron Spidey suit puts it goes too far out and takes him totally out of his wheelhouse, saying now he's just he puts on this armor. It takes away from the character. And I know all this stuff is kind of established in like a mixture of Ultimate Spider-Man and the and who's it? What's it? Miles Morales. And then the Miles Morales and the Ultimate Spider-Man kind of merge in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon where Spider-Man works with Nick Fury. But then you give him all these gadgets where you got this thing and Iron Man has a suit. Then he could probably beat anyone or survive any fight like that. But what do you gain from this?
An entertaining show. Isn't that
what you get is that your popular character gets to beat up someone or show how tough he is because he survived the fight with the Hulk or someone like that. Like I think they did it in what was it?
Okay, wait.
Fear Itself. Fear Itself was Spider-Man fought the Thing whose power with this axe and hammer, and Spider-Man is like he's got to save these people, and then he just starts relentless throwing punches, and somehow the Thing just stops, and then he goes the other way, but it looked like he was hurt by it, and Spider-Man collapses, almost has a heart attack or something like that. I'm not with those type of stories. We see
that's a different story. You're not with those type of stories, but guess what? The rest of us are.
I know.
And those stories, just like in the Avengers MCU, when they all Thor pitted himself against Hulk, Iron Man pitted himself. Listen, I'm looking at what Big Oso said. Hey, remember the MCU is an adaptation of the comic books, and he's agreeing with me, right? He's agreeing with me, basically saying once again that. That's right. It may be an adaptation.
I'm going to look up this account to make sure this is not you.
No, I'm trying to say
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That's a joke.
You know, So look, I'm just trying to say, bro, please.
No, I'm saying there's a lot of fans. There's a lot of fans
that love the fight between Hulk and Thor.
In the cartoon, well, no, it's like in the cartoon, somehow when the what's the name, the Juggernaut loses his outfit, Spider-Man's able to knock him out. When that was the Rhino story that the Stan Lee did, which was like ultimately the Rhino they beefed up in power. So he at some point was a guy that was stronger than Spider-Man with the outfit. But somehow when he lost the hide, he was not as strong, and Spider-Man could hurt him for some reason. At the same time, if you're still that strong, you should still be that strong. Maybe like what you were saying, a number of hits would be enough to take the Rhino out, that sort of thing. But then the Rhino became a Hulk villain, and it's just like, wait a minute, how does this work? He was just fighting Spider-Man. So anyway,
I'm not saying he
was. There's many people as we've argued that agree. I'm just saying from what was established and what his powers are, there's no real need for him to be like strong enough to fight or survive a fight with the Hulk. Because his powers just need to be, his strength is only supposed to be proportion of a spider. He's only supposed to be able to basically, like being strong enough that he could swing from building to building, right? That's what the strength, if he's, shooting the web, he can't, like throw his groin out every time that he's trying to spin the web or something like that.
No.
He didn't like that?
That's 1950s. We're now in 2021.
You're saying you can't throw
once again? Big Oso Ya says he's kind of agreeing with me again. You know what I'm trying to say? He is the most popular character. He is the money spinner. You know what I'm trying to say? People are going to want to see this. The matchup is a classic matchup. Brains over Brawn.
No, but he went too far. He went too far. He said, you see what he said next? He's talking about the whole thing of Batman. That thing. He's right, but at the same time, it's what Stan said. Don't give the fans what they think they want. And now it's like, give them everything they want. Have Spider-Man beat the X-Men up.
They did that years ago, So, hey.
Chris Claremont complained, and what did Jim Shooter say? Hey, it's Spider-Man. Come on, we had to do something. And no one could. The payback for that was Chris Claremont did a crossover in the X-Men. Couldn't get the Fantastic Four, but we had Spider-Man. Spider-Man gets taken out by the New Mutants. He gets put up, his hands pseudo crucified, and then he just gets punished and dies. And luckily everything gets reversed. And I'm like, wow, this is the payback issue for him beating up the X-Men.
I'm not touching that, bro.
I'm saying, you go read those two X-Men issues, you'll be like, what the hell happened to Spider-Man in this? He did nothing.
So let's wrap it up. So, what's your take on this? You agree with me 100%.
I'm saying they're going to do this. It'd be kind of odd to have, like everyone else get like trashed and had Spider-Man the Last Man Standing. But it would be a successful movie. I have to say, it would be a successful movie if you don't take out the Sentry and the last person standing is Iron Spidey, and somehow he does a nerve pinch, and then the Hulk stops and like, wow, he's down, and they're like, oh, Spider-Man, you're so great. It's what they call the adolescent power fantasy. That's what they complain about with Superman, and it's become Spider-Man's thing. But anyway, I know we got to end this.
Okay, I kind of disagree with the way you went, but
you want to go. You don't want to end it.
I got it right. So, Spinnerack
out. Thanks for viewing.
Please
enjoy,
comment, subscribe.